and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from the Fairy Cabin on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Hooray! Thank you for being here. So, to start off with, Lori has a great question. Lori?
Okay. We were talking last week about the patterns of information, and
Yes.
it was beautiful. This week was amazing, seeing the pattern, the that that it's already there, and somebody else is triggering it, the
Yes.
misery or the whatever, the sadness or whatever. So I when you phrased it as patterns of information, which I don't follow those words. Don't seem
Okay.
to.
Okay. But you're getting it though.
Oh, totally. But I'm wondering
Okay.
why you don't call it. I don't know. Patterns of information. I just can't wrap. It doesn't make. It doesn't correlate for some
Okay.
reason. Yeah.
Okay. That's all right.
Okay.
You got it. You got it anyways. You
Yes.
got it
Oh,
anyways.
totally.
And yeah, and it's like whenever there's an uncomfortable feeling, that feeling arises from the senses. So it's all information being taken in by the senses and interpreted.
Oh, it's information. It's the feeling is coming from the body. And it's that's sending information to the mind, and then it labels it and whatever,
Yeah, it's an
projects it
interpretation,
on.
exactly. It's an
Oh,
interpretation of these patterns. Yeah.
got it.
So when you notice that whatever perception it is, someone being mad at you or whatever perception it is, it's not coming from outside of you. It's a pattern of information expressing itself within you. So
Mm,
so if you see it as that, then there's no problem with it, because these bodies are made to go through patterns of information. There's not any problem with any pattern of information. It's just the resistance to it that makes it into a problem.
right,
Yeah.
right. Because it really isn't a problem.
Right. And Pandita asked, are we talking about subconscious programming? Yes, that's really what it is. And, that's all we're perceiving is a reflection of subconscious programming. And that's not to be confused with it's a reflection of yourself, because it's not. It's a reflection of subconscious programming.
Right. It doesn't even touch the real you. None
Yeah.
of it is even
Yeah.
the real you isn't even bothered by any of it.
Exactly. It's just a thought process to another pattern of information that says that this is wrong or bad.
Right, right,
And
right,
then
right,
another one wants to change it.
right.
See, they keep on attracting each other, you know, like attracts like. So if the first pattern of information is believe that this anger is coming from outside of me, from that person over there, then it attracts like patterns of information to it. If it's seen first, like that's kind of like the bottom of it, that person isn't really out there. The world is not real like that, like it appears.
Mm,
So what our whole perception of a person is a pattern of information coming through and being interpreted. It's not one bit personal.
mm,
So one thing that I notice is really helpful for people is recognizing that when one of those patterns of information arises, it's not necessary to say, what do I need to work on within myself? Okay, that's just like a subtle way of putting guilt on ourselves.
right, right, right.
Nothing to work on within ourselves. We're basically projecting ourselves here to experience patterns of information and see through them as patterns of information, because that's how our subconscious guilt gets healed. And when that's healed, then we don't have a need for consciousness at all.
Wow.
And that kind of scares people too, when you say you don't have a need for consciousness at all,
Mm.
because in our minds it's programmed that that means death, but
Mm.
it doesn't. It means eternal life, actually.
Mm. It
and
means
and
to the personality, to the I that we think we are.
right.
Mm. Which
So
is,
it
to me,
Yeah.
that's not scary. That's like bring it
Yeah.
on.
Well, there's a lot of unconscious fear set up in the mind already. So when
Yeah.
you say to me, you're saying like from one aspect, but there's all this subconscious stuff
Mm.
coming up. So in the moment that it's arising, that's the opportunity to see through it. And that's those kinds of opportunities is the reason we're projecting ourselves here, so that we can see through all of this guilt when it arises in the physical form, in the material world. Because without this illusion of a material world, there's no way to see what it means, this
Mm.
unconscious guilt.
Beautiful.
All there is a nagging kind of like a mental pain, you know.
Mm.
But with the manifestation of this world, we can see what that unconsciousness is, and we can see what it what kind of meaning is being made of it, and in that it gets healed, and then there's not a need for a perception where there any kind of pain is even possible,
Mm.
and that makes
Oh.
it all worth it. That makes it
Mm.
all really worth it.
Mm.
So Pandita wrote, there's a video by Eckhart Tolle called Love versus Ego. It's really good for defining subconscious programming, helping to go within and be with the idea of what you perceive to be happening. Bring intense presence to it and dissolve it. Love this conversation. Much enjoy. Oh, thank you, Pandita. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. Yeah. So you see what I mean, Lauren?
I totally see it. It's
Okay.
like I could, I was so ready last week for you to, for that to be presented. It was so simple.
Yeah.
Just seems, wow.
Yeah, sometimes it's just sometimes you just hear it and it's like, okay, it's done. There's no need for me to try to
Uh,
manipulate anything anymore.
mm,
Yeah.
wow. So I just want to thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you,
you
thank you.
too. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you, Laurie. Awesome.
Me, I appreciate you too.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So I'm open to anyone who would like to ask a question or raise their hand. Um, Otherwise, we'll see what comes up. Hooray. Got a hand. Aloha, Pandita. Your mic is on.
Hello, sister.
Aloha.
Hi. I don't have anything specific, I don't think, to
Okay.
ask. Let's see. The subconscious program thing is super awesome for me, though, but the only thing that I find that happens to me is that when I feel these, like, I feel anxiety
Mm-hmm.
when there's like this pain body, and I know it has nothing to do with me, but there's always these attachments to
Okay.
like other ideas that I think are outside of me.
Okay.
But I kind of just like sit with it and try to stay calm, but and try to distract myself with other like awareness videos and just ways to like calm my mind. But
Okay.
sometimes I just feel like I want to like detach from everything and everyone in order to like dissolve everything, but I'm trying to figure out how to be open about how I'm feeling, but it's difficult because I feel like the anxiety makes it hard to express what I'm feeling because it just feels like so much like just anxiety, like pain, like I have no idea what I'm feeling exactly, like there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch.
I know what you mean because I had that same kind of experience. I mean, for me, it was to the point where I felt like I needed to scream, and I would just scream,
Yeah.
you know, because that's what it feels like. It's like when that anxiety is working itself out. It's
Hmm.
like ah, like that. But
And it affects other people because I'm quiet and they're kind of like, what's wrong? And I want to be like, don't ask me what's wrong because when you ask me if something's wrong, then I'm like, oh, something must be wrong. But I'm like, no, nothing's wrong. I just need to be quiet. But
uh-huh.
people can't really understand that.
So that's just kind of like saying that you can't understand that.
Yeah, true.
Okay, that's all. So it's just looking at how uh, this is being created out of what you take to be true. Is
Mm,
being created this whole scenario about how people don't understand and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of applying that same space, the space of compassion, of awareness to however you're feeling about it.
okay.
See, however you're feeling
That
about the
is
other.
a good reminder too, because it's like I'm in such a hurry to stop feeling the anxiety so that I can connect with other people that I stress myself to stop it instead of being compassionate towards myself, really.
Exactly, exactly, and that's it, and that's always what it is. Every time you perceive another person to be a hindrance to you,
Hmm.
that's you. That's just you not being compassionate to yourself right now. So you're just watching that. It's like a choice that you make. It's always a choice. And that feeling of not being compassionate, that feeling of not having compassion given to you, that's there right now for that compassion that comes from you. So it's like
Okay.
the other way around.
Okay.
Okay? It's especially fun with people who are close to us, like partners and stuff like that, because I'll have incidences where it will really seem like Tony is doing something, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. It's making me feel uncomfortable, you know. Maybe it seems like he's judging, you know. It seems like he's judging
Yeah.
people, say. And and there will be all kinds of thoughts about it and stuff and an uncomfort. And as soon as recognizing that that's my pattern to project that onto Tony like that, it's
Right.
like then I'm open to seeing what kind of unconsciously have I been engaging in judgment. I can
Right.
open to see that. See,
Yeah, you're judging yourself, and you're the judger, really.
yes, exactly. Because if you're not judging yourself, anyone can say anything, and there's no reaction to it.
Okay.
Or if there is a reaction, it's just like, oh, no, and it's no problem. It just passes. It's almost like a memory of a reaction.
Okay.
But while there's a reaction, be where you are. No need to be in a hurry, because
Mm,
wherever you are is where you're meant to be.
yeah.
Okay?
It's
So
kind
be
of
with.
when since you talked to me about that. Remember when you told me about the child that's just like craving attention, and then I started
Yeah.
learning about the subconscious programming stuff,
Mhm.
and then I started realizing that it was all within me and that I was creating all of this around me, and then I just started like sitting with it. So,
Mhm.
and it's
Yep.
that's what it is too. I'm like I have to be reminded of it sometimes, and it's nice that you're here because I've been doing pretty good with like keeping myself like within myself so that I'm not like judging or reactive. And it's nice to hear you repeat the things that you've been repeating because it helps me remind myself to love myself, which
Yeah,
is awesome.
and yeah, yes, of course. And don't be afraid of the reactivity either because that's also for you. You see, if you're not afraid of the reactivity, then when it comes up, you can use it. You can use
Okay.
it you can use it to make a different choice than you've been making with the same reaction.
Yeah, that is a thing too. I'm definitely like, I don't want to. It's like a fog. So this subconscious programming is almost like a fog. It's like my
Yeah,
mind will make a plan, an idea, and my body will react. When I was researching, it said like 90% of my reactions are subconscious programming, and we're like on autopilot. Our
yeah.
consciousness is on autopilot. And it's like I go into this fog and I don't want to do that. So that's why I kind of like slow down and just try to see where I'm at instead of reacting out of like fear, mostly fear, which has totally stolen my life for a duration of my life.
Yeah.
Which I definitely don't want. I'd much rather attach to like faith instead of fear. So
Yeah, and you know that faith is great, and it helps to transcend a dense pattern of fear, and then ultimately, just be open to knowing, because that's what seeing through all of these patterns of information leads to.
hmm
And then there's no need for faith. So faith is even like something that we use when it's necessary. And then eventually there's not even a need for that. There's not a need to try to change the thought and say, oh, everything is gonna work out the way I want it. It's like everything is already worked out, really. It's just that we can't see it. We're not perceiving it right now. Whenever there's a focus on a problem, that's all. But when you, thank you. When you live in the awareness that that everything is so divine, then there's no problems. There's just no problems. Everything's complete, and it's relaxing.
I like it.
Yay! I love you.
I love you too. It's always awesome to talk to you.
You too. Aloha, Pandita.
Aloha, sis.
Gail, what would you like me to repeat, my love?
Nothing.
What? I can see you saying, what?
I did not expect to hear that.
What was it?
Well, I just mean expect to hear your voice saying, Gail.
Oh.
I'm like, who's talking to me? Aloha, my love.
Aloha.
So here's what's in my realm at the moment, besides unicorns and fairies. Hey, there's something that keeps poking my attention, and it is this, that Mooji, and you have said before, but I find myself trying to figure it out, and that's it's just keeping me, that trying to figure out is just keeping me in this silly little loop. So it's about whatever you have before you is what you want. And I do believe you're saying you want it as a means of your soul actually having it be an experience that you've projected for purposes of awareness. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Because it's only through these perceptions that the subconscious programming can be healed. So that's what the perceptions are for. It's like we misunderstand their purpose and think that they're forgetting what we want out of them, what we think we want in a worldly way, instead of using them for their intended purpose, what we intended them for.
You mean the pre-incarnation?
You can say that, but there's no such thing as time either.
Right.
So it's all right now. It's like it's always just exactly what you need to a T. Not like pre-written and then all these changes take place and then it's still there. No, it's like because there's no time. So it's from outside of time that it's being projected.
Yes. So it's interesting because I embrace, well, basically, I hear you, I get it, and I just want to say, screw that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Just in the moment, because there's this experience that's being had, and I see it for everything that it is, like the perfection and the fact that's my projected reality, and the gift that I gave myself, in essence, was to have this experience for the purpose of recognizing those unconscious beliefs. I hear it. That's how I live my life. I almost feel like I'm a person obsessed with conscious awareness. I know that that's not true, but if I'm going to be a person, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So this experience right now is one with a gentleman whom you know,
Yeah.
and I'm almost surprised I'm even saying that still, because I thought this would have passed by now, but I only use that as a means to attack myself. Oh, my attack thought is right there. Okay, so here's the deal, and maybe this will be of service to somebody else, but this gentleman, as you know, had this sort of awakening and really very beautifully unfolding in each day that I have contact with him. I'm even more just, my heart opens because of the beauty that I'm encountering in this sort of openness that's before me in his being. So I recognize that that's, you know, that's me over there, and that I wouldn't be able to see it otherwise in him if it weren't already existing, correct, within me?
Well, it is. It's in the mind. You
Yeah.
know, all the images are in the mind. So, and that the mind, you can say the mind is yours.
Got it. Well, we're resonating. We're resonating like mind energy here, which is really fun to see that there's not a program-based connection between us. It feels like there's more of a, you know, less of that anyway. But still, things pop up. Things are popping up, and I can recognize them right away in myself and and in him, even if he hasn't the eyes to see that at the moment. I'm the you know, the well-trained, eagle-eyed huntress for those those programs. But anyway, I digress. So the thing is, Hope, as you know, this gentleman is choosing to be friends with me, and it's wonderful because I'm glad we can be in one another's lives. And how I find myself being about this is there's a great deal of resistance that I'm enjoying at the moment. And of course it doesn't feel good, and I just tend to let that feeling be there without making it mean a whole lot and trying to make it go away, and just be with it. And what I recognize is that I'm not in alignment with what he wants. I would like to be more than just friends, and I know that's not going to happen. So I feel like I have two choices, or three: suffer when I see him, or suffer by not seeing him because I do want to, or the third choice is burn through this shit. Right?
The only choice is to suffer or not. The choice isn't whether to see him or not. That's an automatic choice. Choice is only whether.
I'm not a doer. Is that what you're about to say?
What? Well,
Because
yeah,
I'm not a doer?
yeah, that's right. You know, see, you get distracted by choices on the surface as a doer, so then you can't see what the real choice is in the moment. You don't have a choice whether you're going to hang out with him or not. The only choice there is to see through whatever is arising right now. You're making plans for the future isn't seeing through. That's just a distraction.
I don't think I'm making a plan for the future.
Well, you're talking about a choice between whether you see him or not.
Because he lives down the street from me.
Okay, apparently.
Yes, let's
Yeah,
get that.
yeah, you don't have to see him just because he lives down the street from you. You might not even see him. You
Well,
know?
I do want to see him. I do.
Okay. Okay, so what's saying I want to see him, that's not you.
Damn it, Hope.
It's not. Because you know that's a voice that you believe. That's all it is, and it causes suffering. So that's a choice for suffering, believing that voice, like as if it's you. That's why there's not a seeing through that pattern of information, because it's really interesting to you to identify with that one.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah, I want that pattern of information over there in the form of that man. I do.
You're totally committed to that belief.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like yeah, so that's where it is, to look at that, what wants to be committed to this belief so that you can suffer.
But that would be tending to analyze, wouldn't it?
Just open up to see. Just open up to see. I mean, you are attacking yourself with that thought
Ah, ah.
by
So in other
taking
words,
it to
if
be
it
your own
sucks,
thought.
it's not true.
Yeah, by taking it to be your own thought, you're attacking yourself with it by making suffering for yourself.
Hmm.
You're thinking the choice is something other than it's not. You're thinking the choice is whether you see Matthew or not.
Yeah.
Or like if you like you could see him at a time when you're not supposed to see him. You know, like if it's meant to be, it'll be. That's it. And if those thoughts aren't hindering you in the moment, then you'll be able to see through this. But you know, if the thoughts are coming in and you're interested in them in a way that makes you like the owner of them.
Hmm.
Like you really do. When you say, I really want to see him, you see the energy in your body. You feel the energy in your body. And that's what's making this perception that you want to see him in the first place. It's an energy in your body. It's a pattern of energy.
Mm. Discomfort is a habit.
Yes, yes, it is. It's a habit. It's a habit, and you know what loves that habit loves suffering. It's a setup. A total setup.
It's so interesting to absolutely think that you can. Well, for example, um, when Matthew reached this space of neutrality with me, it's stunning. I think that's the most disturbing part to my mind is that there's neutrality. There's nothing to cling to, nothing to feel like any sort of any play of energy. It's neutral. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, wait a
Right.
minute, don't you want me? Wait a minute, aren't you interested in this being? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? Someone else is going to have you. Wait a minute. So my mind is running amok, or the mind is got me. No, the mind is swirling right now.
Yeah, the mind is swirling, and there's nothing to jump on. It's like a whirlwind swirling, and you know you try to get in it and let it twirl you around a little bit, or just stay, just watch it, kind of like watching it from like a movie. Even the swirling of the mind, a bunch of ticker tapes going like crazy, but it's all meaningless. And if you see that it's all meaningless and that attachment to people like that goes away, and you could just be open to however they come into your experience, that truly is, it's like magic the way this perception comes together. It's like these mind energies just attract for the experience, so that awakening, healing can happen. You know, that's the whole thing. It's not for anything else. When we try to repurpose it because we think it's something that we want, that's how we make suffering for ourselves.
No, 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 no. I do not want to hear this. And you know that I do.
Yes, you do and you don't. I know.
Yeah. It's just there's just a beautiful being over there, and I think of his eyes looking at somebody else from the state of presence that he now has, and I think of you at night saying, well, just sit with him visually and just look over at his eyes while you're lying there in bed. He doesn't even have to be there. If I want to have that experience of sitting before him like that. But I won't, the fact that I won't get to see it in person is just somehow I let that disturb me. let that be.
Yeah, you might not see it in person. It doesn't matter whatever people are saying and all that other stuff. You don't know what's going to happen.
Well,
That
some
doesn't
woman
mean
is going to get to look into his eyes and see that.
What?
Some woman is going to have that experience.
Well, great.
No! Wah, 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 wah.
Get on the floor and throw a fit.
I am going to.
Okay. Good idea. Just play it out.
Ow. Ah!
There you go.
I'm going to go drive in my car and scream.
Yeah, that was a great trick for me.
Yeah, because bouncing on my rebounder ain't cutting it right now. So I think I'm going to go have a good yell.
Yeah, by the ocean too. That feels good.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you too. I love you, Gail.
I love you. Mwah.
Mwah. I'm just going to mention something before I go on to Yulia. Yulia's got her hand up. So yeah, that screaming and stuff. I also got the perspective of a person who is into meditating a lot, and whenever there's a whirlwind like type thing like that, what he does is he tenses his whole body, and then he relaxes it. And then if it gets whirlwindy again, he just keeps on doing that. He tenses his whole body, and then relaxes it. I haven't tried it myself, but I thought I'd just share that because it just popped up. Okay, in case anyone's interested, and having fun with that. Okay, not like it's trying to do something. Keep having fun. Yeah. Julia, you're on.
Hi, Hope. Aloha.
Aloha.
I may have bad connection because I'm at a hotel, but hopefully it'll hold me over for a while. It kind of goes in and out.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, my first question was about this. So we say that whenever you experience anything that feels as suffering or discomfort is because you are misinterpreting something, right? Or let's say have a belief that is wrong. Well, then I said to her this question of what about really extreme situations of suffering, like when someone is in a concentration camp or is being abused, or how can you say that it's all because somebody has a belief that is somehow false or a misinterpretation?
Okay, that's a really good question, and that brings up that idea of you create your own reality, and it's not like that. What I'm saying doesn't mean that, and the only way to interpret it as if it means something like that is to be interpreting it through that perception. You create your own reality. That I'm saying you create your own reality. That's not it. If someone finds themselves in a concentration camp, to the extent they don't recognize, and I see this is not easy, okay, this is not going to be easy, to the extent that they do not recognize that this is a gift, it's a misperception. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because any
experience to recognize as a gift, right? Any extreme suffering would be very difficult to recognize as a gift, correct?
Makes it more difficult. And here's the thing though. Any of this extreme suffering that is experienced is totally being directed by ourselves from outside of time. It's for us. It's almost like we dove into it like a joyful dolphin into this sea of misery just so we can shine a light in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter where we find ourselves, that remains the same. We didn't make this illusory world to punish ourselves. That's the ego's idea. We didn't make it to punish ourselves. We made it so that the truth can be revealed to our mind and we can recognize once again our innocence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it's not like, hey, you made this for yourself by being this way with your thoughts. Babies are born, well, they haven't had the opportunity to have a bunch of thoughts. They could be born like malformed and stuff like that, you know. That's just, it becomes ridiculous, this idea you create your own reality that way. It's not like that. It's more like you made it for yourself. You made it for yourself so that you can see through this unconsciousness.
Well, like when you say from outside of space and time, how is that?
Yeah. Well, space and time is basically in consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
This illusion of space and time, okay? It's in consciousness. We are not in consciousness. We are not in consciousness. We are as consciousness within this illusion, but we're not in it. From our perspective that's not burdened by perception, we're making every experience. We're leading ourselves, is another way to put it, to every experience.
And yet it's incorrect to say that we create our own reality, as in, you know, people say, you know, you manifest this or manifest that.
Well, yeah. Well, that's this you know, understanding. You know, through an understanding, you know, we share concepts with each other, right? And if the concepts are seen through a sense of separation, they're going to mean something else. So this you create your own reality thing, the way it's taken by the ego is, again, you're guilty. Because look at the fucked up stuff you've been creating. Do you see? It's just another way to project guilt onto yourself.
So the fucked up stuff that you end up in has nothing to do with guilt, punishment, or any sort of experience where you need to learn something the hard way, let's say.
Right. Right. It's like you know, it even says, I know you're not familiar with the Bible, but other people are, you know, you're not given anything that you cannot handle. You're not given anything.
Yeah, that's a famous one, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, that's a well-known one, even if you don't, you know the Bible, people say.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Oh, thanks for letting me know. I don't know which parts of it are well-known or what. So yeah, it's like you can handle whatever it is, because all it is experiencing. It's an experience of sensation. But, you know, you didn't give it to yourself because you need to be punished. That's the thing. You didn't give it to yourself because you did something wrong. You gave it to yourself because you got lost in thought, and this is your way out. This is your ticket.
Wow.
It's a blessing.
You got really lost in thought.
Really lost. To the point where now you got a body that can die and shit.
Yeah, so it's everybody, right?
Apparently, yeah, exactly. Oh, well, that's right. We're one. It's one mind.
Right.
It's one mind.
But don't we all prefer lighter experiences? It seems so. It seems like
definitely.
Inclination.
We all prefer lighter experiences. We all have the desire for happiness. It's just that it's almost like unskilled. Like being unskilled and not knowing how to get it, going about it the way that brings about misery instead.
So in a way, there is a skilled way to bring about more joy. In a way, you sort of do create your own reality in that sense, right?
Well, it's like you interpret your own perception. Let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a perception. You have a choice how to interpret
anything as a gift then, right?
Exactly, no matter what it is. And you know, I was sharing yesterday with my in-person Wisdom Dialogues group about how, you know, when my son got in an accident at the skate park, you know, he hit his head and then he went into a convulsion and hit his head a bunch more times before his friends had to grab him. And when I heard about this, you know, immediately it's like, oh my goodness, he could die. You know, and there is a great fear that can come over me, you know, as a mom. And then as I'm driving through, you know, my street, which is like a quarter of a mile, it just all came in on me that everything's okay. It just all came in that everything is all right. Not that he's not going to die or is or not or whatever. You know, we talked before about how there's no death. There's, you know, but the illusion of his body dying, it was not a problem, you know, and it just, and when it was not a problem, it was just all open to whatever it was. It was not like, oh, I hope he's not going to die or whatever. It's like, if there's a death experience for him, that's under his direction. That's under his direction. And then however I perceive it, you know, that's my responsibility. That's a choice that I'm making, how I perceive it. If I want to perceive it like I lost a person or I might lose a person, then I'm making a choice for suffering. See? So when the perception arises that oh no feeling, it's like a reinterpretation of that perception given what's true about the whole thing. So then it was okay with me if death was going to be the experience. Okay? And then
Sorry, I think I see what you mean. Like, we're born not knowing that somebody's death is a horrible experience and that it's the source of pain, right? And then we learned that. And you could hypothetically imagine that we could be living in the world where nobody thinks that that's a horrible thing.
Right. It's like oh, okay, that's where it is. That's where it's at. You know, let's have a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like we really have any control over that like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the whole consciousness is just a play of consciousness. We can't lose anyone. We can't lose anyone's love like that or anything. That's the same kind of thing, like you know, Gail was talking about with love relationships, romantic relationships. You know, you can't lose any love. You can't lose any love either. So it's not like something's gone. That's just a habit to try to make it as if something's gone.
And also to hold on to some permanence, right? And
yes,
like create fear out of that if that changes, then that's horrible and it's going to hurt.
Yeah. And you see how there's a lack of gratitude there. So the more you're seeing that there's no gratitude there. Like even if you're pulled into a cycle where it's like oh, this totally sucks, this is horrible, I'm really scared and all that kind of stuff. You know, as soon as can, let gratitude in.
Yeah, it's so you get carried away with this thought, with this strain of thought that things are horrible, and you kind of just forget that that's just a train of thought, I guess.
Yeah, and with love, you know, it's just impossible to be unhappy, because with love, there's no cause for unhappiness. You know, love shines a light on everything. Whatever it is, saying that oh no, what if I lose this person, or what if I lose my job? You know, I've seen people get real scared about losing a job, and it's like, you know, if there's just a willingness to experience the love that's there now, it's really clear that there's no justification for unhappiness. That doesn't mean it's bad to be unhappy, but when it's seeing that there's no justification for it, there's no justification for it, and it just can't be.
Right, it's all in the interpretation, because we interpret this as bad, like not having money is bad, losing someone is bad.
Yes.
Being in a bad situation was bad.
Yeah, it's just an interpretation, and the more we want to interpret our situation as bad, the more those same kinds of triggers are going to come up for us in the form of experience.
Yeah. And same with condemnation, I guess, is we think that it's somebody's fault. You know, somebody, a political leader or another person, a bad person, caused the situation.
Exactly.
But then also you get the perception that, oh, we shouldn't, you know, we're just being, let's say, we don't want to resist and we don't want to do anything about it. That could be another interpretation, right?
Well, sure, because there's identification as a doer. You know, naturally you're going to move toward whatever you're passionate about. You know, it's like your soul is always pushing you toward whatever it is that you're passionate about, while the condemnation and all the thoughts about what you want and all that stuff is kind of like suffocating that.
Mm-hmm.
So people experience, the common experience is that the older you get, the less and less passion you live with. Everything becomes so redundant, and that's not necessary. You know, to let more and more passion in is just a matter of looking through the thoughts. And you know, that's the truest form of forgiveness, is recognizing that these are just patterns of information, not personal, and you're here to experience them, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And when we meditate, so, you know, how would you talk about what meditation is? You know, Vipassana, the way you did it, versus other forms of meditation, as in you sit and watch your thoughts, who is watching them, or, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, meditation, you know, for me is just an awareness of all of the senses. What it feels like on my skin with the clothes of my skin, how my skin feels, how my back feels against the chair, what's in my sight, the whole sight, you know, just like kind of like taking it in, not focusing on anything in particular, you know, and what's it taste like in my mouth, you know, just all the senses, and in that experience of the senses, thoughts can come and go. So there's a willingness to be with the body sensation, and thoughts come and go. Now throughout the day, and I'm talking about a regular like walking meditation, not needing to sit down and do it, although that's not a problem. You know, that's relaxing and nice, and it helps a lot of people to get into the habit of it. But ultimately, it's a walking, breathing, living meditation. And it's just full awareness, body awareness of all of the sensations, and that's how everything is worked out, because with this awareness of the body sensations and not resisting what's going on in the body, there's an openness to however life flows, and the thoughts aren't so meaningful. And when the thoughts seem meaningful to me at any point during the day, and I start to feel like I'm constricted, all there is an instant return to how all of these senses are registering in my energy field. And that's it. It's really like simple as that.
And the thoughts being sort of just as one of the senses?
Yes, yes. Just like that. It's like ticker tape going by.
And there seems to be a connection, too, between the thoughts and the physical reactions, because certain thoughts bring tension, let's say, right?
Oh, yes. The thought. Yes, the thought is a pattern of information. It's a pattern of information that's been unconsciously used to attack yourself, and that's why it feels uncomfortable. So that thought can totally be repurposed if it's just allowed to float by and there's attention to the energy body.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the thought gets repurposed toward healing the illusion, let's say. And forgiveness happens. Forgiveness happens because there's not this chasing of the thought, like the thought that says I need to be with this particular person, a thought like that, you know, or that would be bad if that guy died or something like that. When the thought is chased without awareness of the senses in the body that are projecting it in the first place, okay. Then there's tension and it gets constricted. And even while you're talking, even while you're talking, you know, like one thing that helps is to notice that you're not actually talking. The words come through your mouth kind of like a puppet. And so even when you're talking, there can be that awareness of all the senses in the body, like how the words feel as a vibration in your diaphragm, and how, you know, like even right now when I'm talking and I'm sharing this with you, I can sense how the words that I'm speaking are vibrating through my whole body all the way, you know, the crown of the head to the toes, the fingertips, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awareness of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that for fun?
Yep. It's
So hooray!
yes, hooray.
We love it. So was
Yep.
that your only question?
I think that's it for today. Thank you, Hope.
Okay, Yulia, I love you.
Love you too.
Would anyone else like to talk with me? I don't have any questions pending right now, and I'm available. Yay. There's always enough time. There's always enough money. There's always enough energy. Nothing is lacking. Everything we can possibly need is here now. Because we are. Before consciousness, we are. And anywhere we find ourselves, that's where the magic is. That's where miracles can happen. Everything that we perceive is like a magic trick that we gave to ourselves. With awareness like that, everything transforms. Okay? Nothing has to be seen as a burden. Nothing has to be taken as an obligation. It's okay if someone has something bad to say about you. It's not really about you. But if it triggers something in you, then it's for you in a really good and fun way. Not in a way like you are somehow deficient or you need healing. If you needed healing, you wouldn't be real. You're the only thing real. In all of this perception, you're what's real. Okay? And the others that are perceived, they're not others at all. They're you. And if there's a perception of them being less than innocent, holy, all-powerful, that's only a misperception. It's yours. It's yours to forgive. Allow forgiveness for it. And that's all that takes is a willingness to recognize that it is in fact a misperception, and it doesn't mean anything about that person because in fact that person isn't there. It's only you. And nothing that you think about them that denies their innocence, that denies their brilliance, means anything. Only when you remind us, let's say us, of our innocence, does it mean anything. That's healing. That's healing. And that's what gives us the motivation for when someone has something that seems mean to say about us, to feel grateful. to feel very grateful, because it's almost like they're doing exactly what we asked them to do. And this is something to be seen, not a concept to be taken. Something to open up to, something to be seen. Okay, so I think that's all I have to share with you today. Unless someone wants to present some kind of question or raise their hand, I will start talking about Miracle Botanicals. So, me and my family love essential oils, and we have a company called Miracle Botanicals. We're having a lot of fun with it. We get all kinds of really good stuff, the best in the world. We just added a carrot seed today, and we're super stoked. It smells just like carrot. So if you're interested, you could check out miraclebotanicals.com. Also, I'm here online every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Hawaii time. Also in person, if you're in person in Pahoa, Hawaii area, Va'a to be specific, just let me know. I can add you to the Facebook group. You can get invited. That's every Monday. I think the time is changing, so we'll let you know. Wisdomdialogues.org, that's where the videos are. Go to wisdomdialogue.org and you can check out videos from, I don't know, starting a year and a half ago or something like that. Okay, yay. Thank you so much for joining. I love you all so much. Aloha and a hui ho.